Hey guys, how's it going? We're back with a new video on our channel, and here we play against a loose fish and a limper and under the gun. So let's see what happened. So we have a beautiful king 9 suited in the big blind. We definitely want to play this hand. Here the small blind goes ahead and ISO raises to 8 big blinds. And with king 9 suited out of position, I would definitely tend to fold, but in position against two weaker opponents, I really like the call, cause it's definitely, or the possibility is really high that the player under the gun that limped will also come along in this situation. And we are also a little bit deeper, and we have the post-flop edge. Yeah, we basically flop the world on ace jack 7, we flop the king high flush draw, which is the best we could hope for, and the first VIP checks. And the question is, should we semi-bluff our king high flush draw, or should we try to go to showdown here?
Probably starting with the check here, I think, because they're going to have a lot of ace X in their range, and I would mainly just want to be keeping this pot small, trying to get to a turn. I would rather start trying to bluff turn if they check again, but because it's just so hard to move fish off ace X and even jack X, I don't mind just checking here and then playing later streets rather than trying to build a huge pot, because we only have the flush draw at this point, right? So it's, we're still a fairly big underdog against ace X or even jack X. I mean, jack X not so much, but yeah, I think against two ranges, I definitely prefer checking here.
Yeah. And we also risk of getting check raised here quite often on those textures. When the board is a little bit different, so way lower, I would tend to bet a little bit more often, because more folding is going on. But as you mentioned, even second pair, maybe even third pair is not folding all the time.
Yeah, using multiple street aggression if we wanted to take it down.
Exactly. So we bet flop and we get raised. And yeah, the original open raiser also called. And I think we only have one option here. So 3-betting flop is definitely a little bit too ambitious, because basically both players can have ace X and they will never fold a strong ace on the spot texture, even if we just rip it. And of course we get amazing implies, an amazing price. We only have to put in, 24. So yeah, this is what we should do. So pot is 174, 147, and yeah, we drill the flush on the turn, we make the second nuts, loose fish checks, we check, and under the gun limper bets half pot. And the question is, do you want to continue slow playing the turn, or would you just go all in?
Yeah, so in this spot, we definitely just want to be going all in almost always, in my opinion, because he's going to have a lot of hands like ace jack, ace 7, jack 7, maybe some hands like pocket jacks, pocket 7s, also some lower flushes. So I think his range is going to be fairly strong here when he raises flop and then bets turn into two players. And if he has a nut flush, we're going to go broke anyways, right? We're never going to fold the river, so I'd rather just get the money in here. And because it's just going to be so hard for a fish to ever fold here if he has any type of two pair, even if he has maybe a hand like ace king or something, right, that he played weird, it's just going to be really tough for him to fold if he has, I guess, he could have ace king, say, with a club.
Even like ace 10 with a 10 of clubs, I think
yeah,
VIP
yeah,
is not
exactly.
folding those hands even to an all in.
Yeah, so it's like it's a small portion of his range, but again, against his overall range, we're in pretty good shape here. And if he has the nut flush, then it doesn't matter anyways. So I really just want to get the money in here. It's just such a disaster when you call here and then he checks the river back, because I just don't expect him to be bluffing enough. And then it's hard to know if he's going to go for thin value again on the river, if he has some type of like weaker two pair. So yeah, I'm not for shoving here.
I think it happens quite often that they still value bet a strong hand on the turn, so a hand like ace jack or jack 7 or pocket 7s, but with the intention to check back most rivers. And this is our problem in this hand. And the thing why Villain's range here is so strong is that he has position, right? He can also just go ahead and check, see a free river, and the turn is definitely a dangerous card. He is definitely realizing, oh, the flush hits the felt, and he's still betting big against two opponents. And this just means one thing: he has either a flush or a two pair or top pair with a flush draw most of the time. He rarely will do this with a hand like king queen or king 10 and a club. This just rarely happens. Most of the time it's a really narrow value range, and yeah, he's folding none of those hands. So just go ahead, get the money in the middle right now, because also on the river there are a lot of scare cards. When the river is a jack, a 7, an ace, a club, villain can definitely feel even more uncomfortable and will not pile more money into the pot. That's why I would really love to see a turn jam and not a turn call. But yeah, villain goes ahead and calls. River is the king in hearts, so we check call turn, so there's really no way we should shove river. When you want to pile in money, please go ahead and rip turn. So when we check turn and think villain has enough bluffs, we should check again. And yeah, surprise, surprise, villain checks back. And he shows us the bad news. He shows 10-8 in clubs. And of course, he should definitely bet this hand for value on the river. But this happens quite often, that people are afraid of stronger flushes. But when we go ahead and jam turn, they will never ever start folding those flushes on the turn. And that's why you should realize that it's so important to raise our second nut flush on the turn.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just fast play or value against fish. It's a really easy kind of heuristic to use, but it really works well, and especially out of position. If you're in position, obviously you can control the size of the pot, so you can always shove river, but when you're out of position, it becomes tough, because unless you want to donk shove this river, which is, I mean, it's still fine. I think it's a bit of an unorthodox play, but it's just you just rather get the money in on earlier streets, because fish are just going to chase their draws, or whether that's like a 2-pair draw trying to get to a full house, or just some random flush draw or something. So, yeah.
Yeah, really good point. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.